All right, welcome back, everybody. This is Chad Evergrove Shears. This is the Maturity Project. I wanted to check in real briefly and to give you just a heads up why it really hasn't been a lot of videos the last couple of days. That's why I haven't produced anything the last 3 days. And that's because we evacuated our home for Hurricane Milton because it hit the Sarasota area. We left because we were still within an area that I was not willing to ride out. I am a Floridian, born and raised, and I have only evacuated twice in my life for a storm. But after seeing what Hurricane Michael did in 2018 to the Panhandle, I'm unwilling to put my family at risk for that. So we left. I am 1 day away from my birthday. With that, I just wanted to get on real quick. This is a fast video. I'm not planning on doing too much. I will say that this time away and going through the experiences that we've gone through, it's been quite an interesting thing. The Maturity Project is my life's work. It is the solution to the problems that we have at such a fundamental level, because the problems that we have are so incredibly dynamic. But one of our biggest challenges that we have with this is that we're so caught up in the symptoms, that we can't even understand the problem. We have people that are being taught that vice is the best way of living life. The virtuous direction takes work, and the return on investment initially with virtue is typically lower than the return on investment for vice. So a lie is you get away with things on the short term much better, or much more effectively, in the way that you can convince somebody to do or give you something, or believe you. Right, and that'll get whatever outcome it gets. But the virtuous direction is you might hurt somebody's feelings. You might push somebody away because they don't like what truth is, or what the truth. Say your truth. I'm actually getting tired of that. What the truth is, right? So virtue will not win whenever we don't even have a benefit structure set up to understand why are you going to put in the work. These things show up, right? Like whenever people say, well, the rich don't pay their fair share of taxes, right? That is a lie that has been spread continuously. People are like, well, this, that. No, you don't understand it enough. They've given you a simplistic lie to overshadow a complicated truth. Like Elon Musk doesn't pay his fair share of taxes. That man has paid more in taxes than anybody has ever paid in his entire existence. He's paid excessive amounts of money for taxes. Here's the thing. You sit around, you get caught up in that argument, and you're like, well, the rich have lied, they've cheated, and they've stole. That's how they got there. That's because somebody did not teach the person that is saying that the structure and strategy to be successful in a way that works for them. You have to teach the structure and the strategy for success, but then also guide them through the early set challenges so they see the return on the effort, and then they can see why you're applying that effort in more or greater challenges. If you don't do that and you say, okay, well, I taught it, and then you give this person a challenge they should run into 4 or 5 years from then, not right now, and then, okay, now apply what we just taught you. It's not going to be that effective. You're going to have a far lower success rate come out of that than we would if we actually guided them through the process. There's a reference that they use whenever in psychology, through treatment in psychology, and I'm not a psychologist, but there's a method that's called scaffolding. I talk about it often on this channel. It's simple. You build up scaffold around someone, right, like a building, and then you do the repairs necessary, or as you're building the building, you build scaffolding around it, and then you prepare that building to stand on its own. You lay the block, you fix it, put the brick in place, whatever it is. You put the plumbing in, you do all that stuff, you establish the floors, everything, then you start pulling your scaffold off whenever it's done. In the individual sense, What you do is you say, okay, well, you want to accomplish this. This is how you accomplish it. In partnership with the person. Don't do it for them, you do it with them. Big difference. Don't do it for them. You do it with them. As you build this thing with them, you get them to the point that you have them taking on each part of the process when it's time, so that you don't overwhelm them or overload them, but you have to give them enough of a challenge. It can't be too easy and it can't be too hard. No, you have to get them to understand the process. It also teaches them grit, teaches them how to work hard, a lot of things like that. So you're putting them through this process to learn how to be successful. As they become more successful in the process, you start pulling your support away enough that they're taking on more of the responsibility for that particular action, whatever that is. And you continue to pull your support away until they're completely independent with it, but you don't just give it to them and walk away. It's not proper development. So few people understand how to do things. And with our family units the way they are right now, families are not concerned with the raising of their children by comparison to what it was back in the 60s, 70s. You know, in the earlier stages when we became such a great country, our families were so much more concerned about the growth and development of their children by comparison to now. What we do is we give them the public schools and then universities. We do things with them, and it gives us a justification. We're working with our kids. The reality is we're not doing what we used to. Television, video games, just the things that kids get into now are taking them away from their family structure we used to have. But for us, we don't even realize we're giving it away. And then we're like, well, yeah, my kid's great. He's got a degree. She's got a degree, whatever. But then your kid comes home, you send them off to college. They're sweet, innocent, wonderful kids. They come back and they tell you that they hate you because of your privilege that you have. If you don't have the political things that they've been teaching them in school, there's a problem with you because the school has taught them that their politics is the right politics. They've had your children and they've turned them into your enemy. You see, though, how do they do that? It's because of what happened to the child before they got to university. If your child is well developed prior to going to university, I'm not downing the parents that have done this. I'm not making them wrong necessarily. The outcome is because of the effort. That's it. It's that simple. But you see, the thing is that you're caught up with your bills, you're caught up with your living expense issues, you're caught up with your own marital issues or relationship issues, you're caught up with your job, the challenges there, you're caught up with the economy, your politics, you're caught up with your neighborhood, you're caught up with everything that could possibly be out there that distracts you away from taking care of your family. Now, this is a practice, this is a process. You don't just get there overnight, you got to work on it. But anyway, these things are things that I've actually been working over while we got away from the hurricane. And how do we create a solution? I am not going to get caught up in the symptoms. I can talk about the symptoms all day long with people that want to talk about the solution, but we use the symptom to get there. But I'm not going to be caught in the symptom. By the way, you're caught in the symptoms whenever it's about the drama and it's not about the solution. So the symptoms are this person lied. Why did they lie? The symptom is this person cheated on something, they stole something, whatever. Why did they cheat? Why did they steal? No, that's what you have to look for. When people are having those conversations, I do not like being stuck in conversations that don't have solution orientation. That does make me kind of suck at parties at times because people may want to sit there and talk about drama, but those aren't my people. Right? They are people that eventually, as they hear solutions in that direction, but it's also tactfulness. Sometimes I'll entertain the symptom for a little while, gain enough rapport to start talking about a solution that gets people to go, oh, it's not 100%. There's always going to be people that are just like, you know what, that's a great idea. I'll try that. They never try it. But it's not your job to get them to do it, but you can support them. If you get the enrollment, you can work with them and start working in a different direction. I am determined to create a solution to these problems that we have. So I'll give you this also, and then I'll stop the video because again, it's supposed to be kind of a short one. A little guy back here, actually he's sleeping right now. So I've been listening to the new CD from Jelly Roll, his new album, Jelly Roll. I love the guy; he's a great artist. A couple of them actually pretty impressive lately, and I've really just grown a distaste for modern music because it just got so, this new age narcissism. And I'm not a fan of it at all. By the way, what you repeat regularly, whether you acknowledge it or not, does affect you. So if you're sitting there listening to your favorite song, I can't tell you how many times I've talked to people about the lyrics of music. And I'm like, did you know that this song's about that? What? No. Yes. And then you take the lyrics out, right? Like Spotify, you can go on and you can actually get to the lyrics and read it with them and have them go, wow, oh my God, I didn't know that. It's happened a lot of times for me because I've got a lot of music programmed into my history before even understanding what the hell the song's about. So anyway, Jelly Roll, there's a couple of newer artists. I can't remember one of them. One of them is Doors. I love that song, by the way. Teddy Swims, that's his name. Teddy Swims. It's another one. I like purposeful music. I like purposeful people. I associate with purposeful people more than non-purposeful people. But it's really an interesting thing for me. When I'm associating myself with other people, the purpose seems to come out. They may have never noticed it before, but that is something that I'm good at, is generating purpose. Now, it doesn't mean that it sticks, and it doesn't mean that what they get struck by at that moment when they feel purpose is actually theirs, but it'll be in the ballpark. It'll be something in that kin, if you will, that family tree. Though damn it, I forgot there was a term that I was looking for there that had to do with family trees that are, going through. Yeah, anyway, I distracted myself with it. But that's what I seem to call out in people, is purpose. Yeah. And it's just because of the way that I have conversations. I am so curious to what makes you tick, to make you really excited about living life. The thing that I can associate integrity with. Because if I can figure out what your purpose is and what lights you up, what gets you going, if I can figure out what that is, then there's a good chance that we can start talking about integrity. We can start talking about the fundamentals and the benefits of virtue and how vice is sinking their opportunities. Because, by the way, purpose is what creates a fulfilled life. If you don't have purpose, you will not have a fulfilled life. By the way, purpose goes into every aspect, all 8 areas of maturity, your relationships. If you don't have a purpose-driven relationship where you're like, hey, you're my person, and these are the things that I do to invest into you and us, and I feel the return on your investment in me and us, then you're not in a purpose-driven relationship. Now, I'm not saying that you need to leave it or whatever. You can generate that, create it now. But it's getting your partner to truly understand you're not just here to pay bills, to live and breathe, to have children or not, and then die. You won't find fulfillment in life. And actually, you're more likely to run an affair or to have one done to you if you don't have purpose in your relationship. What about business? Do you have purpose in your business? You just work for a company because you want to pay your bills? Or do you work for a company because it stands for values that you associate with? That the company's up to something that you actually support? No. Is it there? Right? With your sexuality, do you have purpose with it? Or is it just something to keep you from having that biological nag? Where you're just like, man, I haven't gotten laid in a long time. Or do you have purpose behind it? Do you want your partner to have the most fulfilling experience every time? Or is it just a chore? Get it done. No. Finance. Just making money to spend it? Or are you just making money and saving and then, rainy day fund, but you don't really have any other value or any other purpose behind your money? When you buy stuff, you care where you buy it from? No. Do you have any kind of attachment to it? Are you spending beyond your limits? Are you spending close to it? Are you spending within 25%? Where are you at with it? What's your purpose value? With your community. What are you doing with your community? Do you have purpose in your community? Do you do anything to associate with people in such a way that you're making a difference? That you know that you can make a difference? In some way that makes you go, I feel really good about this relationship. I feel really good about what you and I have, or what this group of people and I have. No. Your body. You have a purpose for what you do with your body. You just go to the gym or you don't go. Because I can tell you right now, if you have no purpose when you go to the gym, it won't last that long. You'll have reasons not to go. You won't have your heart in it. You won't be alive in it. You know, and if you have mixed match, I want to look like a bodybuilder, but you're a professional golfer, you're going to screw your game up. They don't work together that well. Actually, they don't work together at all. You can aesthetically look great, but then your game starts to suck. You know, you got to be careful with the solution that you create, because that solution can become your hindrance and send you down the wrong direction. If you know how to analyze it and to validate what you've done, then you can come up with something different. And you can be like, oh shit, okay, I went the wrong path. That's all right. I learned a lot. And then qualify what you learned. Hey, that's even better. So our point in doing this work is to create a different life, one that is fulfilling. So, let's see, which ones did I miss here? Emotions, by the way, here's another one for you. This one's, everybody seems to, like, it's weird. We seem to be in a culture now that says it's okay for men to cry. And we have this effort into this emotional category, which is one of the areas of maturity. And we're saying, you know what? It's okay for these reasons, these things. But what we've actually done is that has become a weaponized approach against specific things. Like, it's okay for men to cry has turned into an assault against masculinity. And then you get toxic masculinity and all the rest of the stuff. Let's get past all of that. Again, those are symptom issues. It tells me something to look into. You don't need to worry about that. I'm looking into those things. You don't have to. What I would prefer that the students of the Maturity Project do, focus on your life and what your foundation requires in order for you to have a fulfilling life. Focus on that. I'll take on other burdens, and the people that get involved with this education that are on the creating side of it, not the consuming side, but they'll consume as well, but they're creators in this. We will take on the bigger problems. You don't have to worry about that. Get your house in order first, and then you can join in that conversation to be on the creating side. Because there's 8 areas you can be creators in. But first, let's get your foundation down. Once you're there, you're good. So emotions, you can develop your emotions, absolutely. And it's unbelievable. I've had recent breakthroughs when it comes to emotional maturity. It blows my mind. And I love it, actually. So I'm one that chooses hardship more often than the easy path. And actually almost exclusively the hardship direction. Because I want the lesson that's waiting for me. And I got to tell you, emotions, holy hell, what you can go through emotionally when you're out to grow, holy crap. Like, I have gone through some of the most challenging experiences and emotions recently. I danced with chaos, and I gave my life, I was willing to give my life to chaos. And I gotta tell you, I'm not a fan of Garth Brooks, but I'm gonna reference one of his songs now. Unanswered Prayers. Now, humanity is on the other side of that chaos. I have one side of it, and the other has the other side of it. It is a beautiful thing. But holy crap, was it something to deal with, right? Was it something that really rocked my world, especially emotionally, right? But here's the thing. The only way you can really develop your emotions is that you have to do it while they're active. Developing your emotions when they're not active is like sitting in a classroom talking about what it's like to ride a bicycle. Until you get on the bike, you can sit there and pontificate all you want what it's like. Get action involved with it and see what happens. Then you bruise and you skin your knee. You may break a bone, but you'll heal. You're going to hurt your pride, especially the more you believe you're going to be good at it. Then you try it and you're like, holy shit, I'm not good at this at all. Practice is required for emotions to grow. If you decide you're going to stick your head in the sand or run away from it, you're not going to grow. What you've strengthened is the ability to avoid. You don't get lessons out of avoiding. You have to take action. So, emotions. Do you have a purpose behind what you're going through emotionally? Because I'll tell you also, if you have a purpose behind what you're going through emotionally, man, you get strong dealing with emotions. You have an anchor point to the pain you're going through, the challenges you're dealing with. You have an anchor point to go, I can strengthen my resolve here versus just trying to survive. Because if you're just trying to survive, you typically don't have an anchor to associate to. or associate with. You just have the chaos. The snow globe has been shaken up. And you don't have what's necessary to really grow. But if you have that anchor, holy shit, it can strengthen you something significant. You still feel pain, by the way. You still feel the upsets. You still feel the challenges. But the great thing about it is you're getting stronger. It's growing. No. The point of this entire maturity is to get you to the point that you have wisdom in every area. By the way, wisdom is not knowledge by itself. It's knowledge in action and the ability to predict and alter an outcome. No. Wisdom is what we say and what we seek. So anyway, all right. Purpose is the other one, which it's kind of redundant to say purpose. Do you have purpose to your purpose? You can say it, absolutely. I've got purpose to my purpose. I want to make a difference for humanity. I am out to create something that gives everyone the fundamental tools to create a fulfilling life. That we break away from the idea that being rich is the only value in life, or power, or whatever. And we can see what we do in life and how it supports other people, because we are communal creatures, which means that we live inside of a community. We need to be a part of the community. Isolation is one of the fastest ways to create mental illness. Oh, it's pretty fascinating what it can do to a very salient and strong mind. You put them in solitary confinement, it can absolutely create mental illness. It is a horrific experience. And all it is time out, right? But it's extended time out with no interaction. See what that does to you. Now, people that choose doing something like that, like monks, will go to the mountains to be away from people so they can spend time alone. Those people chose it, and they've conditioned themselves to get there. Most people, like people that are put into solitary confinement, they have that choice. They don't have the resource or the foundation to make it work. So what they have is they get to sit and think about what they've done wrong or how they have been done wrong. And then that creates all kinds of challenges that person typically does not. Some of them won't rebound from it. They won't come back. It changes them. So let's create more purpose to your purpose. Right? First, let's establish your purpose. Let's get in the ballpark. You will hone in on your own purpose. Mine, I want to change life. I want to give people the fundamentals to make their life, not somebody else's. Right? You don't compromise in relationships in such a way that you give up yourself so the other person wins. It's not how it works. You may have the wrong partner. You may be associated with the wrong people. If you don't know their purpose, what are you doing? It's like the 5 love languages. If you don't know how to communicate your love and affection in a way the other person can feel you and get you, you're going to create a problem. Because you're not going to feel your partner loves or cares for you in a way that you want them to. And you may feel that it is a shallow relationship. And it may not be true at all. It might not be true at all. And there's a good chance that it's not true. That person does love you. But if you continue on, and you do not have the way to communicate love effectively so the other person knows what it feels like to be loved from you, and you don't know how they actually receive that. By the way, if you're not familiar with the 5 love languages, get that book. Get it. Especially if you want a rewarding relationship, it's one of the foundational principles of a rewarding relationship. You need to know how affection is expressed and how you receive affection. It is not the golden rule. Treat others as you want to be treated. No, it's the platinum rule, which is treat others as they want to be treated. But you need to teach them how you want to be treated as well. So if it's taking out the trash or some sort of acts of service, which is actually one of mine, if you don't know that, then it can be taken for granted. And if it's taken for granted, it does not have the affection investment. So the person does not receive you properly. And then you're like, well, I've been doing all these things for you. I don't understand why you don't get it that I love you. It starts breaking down that relationship, the association with, and the love values. So read that book. There's 5 love languages. And you'll have, like I have 3 expressive directions, and I have 3 receiving. So, that I can validate easily. So, it's fantastic, right? That I'm already programmed for. But I don't need to have the blind spots in those relationships. So the 5 love languages, a great one. Read that one. And then comment in the comment section of this video when you have, if you have already read it, what yours are. It's great, actually. And that's one of them. Then you have sex languages, which is something that I'm putting into the relationship book, the workbook that I'm putting together, which will have the sex languages. I'm not sure exactly if it'll be 5 or 6 just yet, but yeah, that'll be there too, which will be incredibly important, right? You want to have fulfillment in your sex life, right? You don't want to get to the point that it's a chore. So it gets to the point that it's a chore. That's a pretty important part of relationships. And if it's a chore, probably a chore for your partner too. If you don't have that passion alive, which dies out over time, especially if you don't understand your sex languages. You don't have your love languages, intimacy dies out because you don't have the affinity being continuously developed with you and your partner. Here's some things to keep in mind. If your relationship is starving for intimacy or sexual satisfaction, there's a pretty good chance your partner's going to run out on you or you're going to run out on your partner. Because it's pretty important. It also causes enough problems in your family or your relationship that distract you from other things in life. And before you know it, your fulfillment activities that bring that degree of satisfaction in life start to drop down. And then you start getting frustrated, which only magnifies the issues. Because then you're going to get upset with your partner about the stupidest things. Symptoms of these things show up because you get frustrated really easy. It's also what happens when you're living your life out of integrity. But first it has to be integrity to you. You need to be integrity with you. If you don't have integrity with yourself, you're going to resent your partner for what you won't do for you. Core values. I, we, and all. I do discuss that in the relationship workbook. There's the different types of relationships, all kinds of stuff that I'm putting into that, by the way. It's going to be released soon. It was wanting to have the rough draft completed by tomorrow, but with the hurricane and everything else, and we have to evacuate, they actually threw a little bit of a wrench in the situation there. And my son does not like to give me time to work on my laptop or write things down on a notebook or anything else because he wants to join in, and it just, even if I give him his own workbook, he's got his own little kid laptop, all that stuff, doesn't matter. He wants mine. He's at that age, he's 2.5, a little over 2.5 years old. So, anyway, all right, well, hey, that's what I got for you for today. This is a maturity project. I am your host, Chad Evergrow Shears. Share this video with the person in your life that you want to make a meaningful relationship and a meaningful conversation with. No, you have to do this stuff for you. You got to do it. You got to put action in it too. If you're not doing that, you're not going to make the kind of impact that you really want to make. So let's work on this together. All right. Remember, and this is a beautiful thing. Thank you, Susan, for this. Is the path to hell is paved with good intentions. It's up to us to pave a new pathway. Let's do it together. Let's create something great. Okay, like the video, help with the algorithm, and subscribe. I'd really love to hit 100 by tomorrow as far as subscribers. I know it's not a high number, but look, it's 100 people that can be influenced to actually make a more fulfilling life. That's what I'm out for. I want to make a difference. I'm living my life to make a difference. All right, until next time, let's get up to something together, shall we? All right, let's do it. Let's get it. Oh, by the way, one more thing. We grow through what we go through. That's what we do with this channel. But you have to learn how to grow through it. I promise you I'm working on that. Join me in it, okay? Subscribe. Watch the videos daily. I am producing on a daily basis, except for this evacuation issue. So I'll be back on now, so long as there's no more evacuations and the damage isn't too great to take too much of the time during the day. So, but I'll do what I can to make sure I'm continuing back on my 7 days a week, okay? All right, till next time, let's get to it. Let's see it.